Okay, tonight we are pleased to have with us Mr. Bob Robertson. Pittsburgh Pirates signed the first baseman as a free agent in June of '64. He played 11 years in the major leagues with 3 teams. Now we all know the Pirates. Can you tell me the other 2?
Yankees.
Seattle Mariners.
Boston. The Reds. Houston.
Senators.
You got their best, but yeah. But Bob had a lifetime batting average of .242. He had 115 home runs and 368 RBIs. He appeared in 5 National League Championship Series with the Pirates and 1 World Series in 1971. In the '71 Championship Series, he set records with most runs in a game, most home runs in a series, and most home runs in a game. His 3-run home run following what he gets remembered the most for, but we won't ask him about a missed bunt sign. If you're going to miss a bunt, you might as well hit a 3-run home run in that pitch. He was born in Frostburg, Maryland, and resides in LaVale, Maryland. Now, there's another person in this room that I know of, maybe more, that was born around Frostburg, Maryland, and that was my dad. And when I was a kid growing up in the '70s, and we went back to visit my grandparents, which was about once a month for the weekend, the Cumberland Times was always having articles about Bob Robertson. Bob hit a home run. Bob had a double. Bob took a bat. You know. I thought the man walked on water. Because all I heard was Bob Robertson, Bob Robertson. And every time I went to a game, it seemed like Bob hit a home run. Every time. So I'm proud to present to you guys Mr. Bob Robertson.
Oh, this is strange. First of all, I'd like to thank Andy for bringing me over here this evening. I'd also like to thank you for calling me 26 times to make sure I was going to be here. Last time was last night. My wife had to take her up to Pittsburgh today, and she got a bad knee, so I took her to the Pirates orthopedic surgeon. So he gave her a shot in the knee. You know what they're giving shots with now? You know these roosters?
Yeah.
You know that cone on top of their head? That has them ligaments or whatever you have. Yeah. So I don't know what she's going to be like tonight. I got to do 2 more. It works for me. I might have to back at her every week. But anyway, it's very nice being here. I'm not no speechmaker. I'll leave it up to Kelly Grouse. I'm about like Sandy. I hear Sandy was here last year. Everything all right? Everything's still in place. But you know, back when I was growing up, you know, I can remember laying on my grandmother's couch out the Williams Road. We used to go to our house every Sunday and have a meal out there. My pap used to take me to 2940s and he dug graves. And I was kind of young, and he used to take me out there and we'd go out and dig a grave, and then we come back and eat. He used to lay on the couch there and listen on the radio to Bob Prince, Jim Woods, and he'd be talking about Clemente was playing in Stargell and all the rest of the guys. And then one day I find myself, you know, on the same ball club with these guys. I come from a very small town, Mount Savage, Maryland. I don't know if you folks ever heard of Mount Savage. They got more beer joints in that place down there now than they do houses. It used to be a pretty nice little town. It still is. But that's where I grew up. Sid Thrift, Joe Consoli comes out when I was 17 years old. It kind of took me away. I never even went to my graduation party that night. I could have signed with the Senators, Orioles, Yankees, or the Pirates. And then I picked the Pirates. Sid Thrift said, Bobby, he said, we're going to give you $5,000 bonus. I looked at him and I said, wow. I looked at Dad, and my dad used to work on the State Road Commission. And I think his best year was about $5,600. I looked at Dad and said, Dad, what do you think? He said, son, I ain't never seen no $5,000. And I said, well, let's go for it. I could have got more money out of the Orioles and Senators, but I decided to go with the Pirates because I grew up with them and all that kind of stuff. And then I went through the minor league system, you know, went to Salem, went to Gastonia, Asheville, and then I went to Columbus, Ohio, AAA. And then I guess in 1970 was my first year in Three River Stadium, because we was the first ball team that had these knit uniforms and stuff on, that's another part of my history. I guess the Pirates was the first one to wear these knits. And then over the years, while I was there, we won 4 out of 6 championships, which was pretty neat. But some guy asked me one time, he said, what's been your biggest thrill in baseball? Is it the 71 World Series and all that? I said, no. I said, the biggest thrill I had in baseball was standing at first base. And here's Willie Mays, here's Hank Aaron, there's Joe Torre, there's Billy Williams, and all the great ball players that played the game. That, to me, that's what it was all about. It wasn't the home runs and the World Series ring and winning all that stuff. It's just the good Lord gave me enough ability to go say, Robert, you go do this. And I did it, for a while. But then I had some 3 knee operations, 2 back surgeries, 1 kidney operation. And after my last back operation, the doctor kind of said, Robert, go get something. Go do something. So I did. I played with my grandkids. And they keep me pretty busy. But there's one story I'd like to relate to you. The good Lord works in different ways. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because I remember in 1971, never forget this long as I live, there was a little boy back home. He was in Aldridge. I think his name was Timmy Aldridge. Well, he got in an accident, and I was playing in San Francisco. And the phone rings in the morning about 7 o'clock San Francisco time. Here's the minister from a Methodist church back in Mount Savage. He said, Bobby, he said, what do you do me a favor? I said, sure, what do you need? I mean, I'm in San Francisco, you're in Mount Savage. Tell me what I can do. Then he told me about this little boy that was in this accident, and he lost one of his eyes in an accident the night before. And he's in the hospital, he's down, he's all broken up. The kid was only about 9 years old. He said, what I'd like for you to do is maybe if you get a hit that day or a home run or something, you can dedicate to this young boy. I said, well, sure, I'll do that. So I went to the ballpark that morning. I said, Bob Prince, I said, Bobby, I said, just do me a favor. He said, what do you need? I said, if I get a hit today or a home run or something like that, dedicate this home run to this Aldridge boy. He said, I'll do that. First time I don't even remember the picture. But I went to that plate. Now you guys know when somebody pitches you inside, you get jammed. Anybody here ever get jammed? Balls way inside and you kind of go like that. That pitcher threw me that first pitch. And I'm going to guarantee you one thing, that ball was that far inside. And I'm standing there, let me fall off here. And I'm standing there like this here, and it's right here. Some way, somehow, someone took that bat, and I'm telling you, it went from here, and it got to here so fast. There goes the ball left center field wall. And I'm going around first base, and I'm going, you talk about getting the cold chill. And all I could think about was going around that base and made that little boy happy because they put a radio in his room. And boy, when he heard that minister called me later and he said, you talk about what you did for that little boy. And he said it was really something else. So I think that's another one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in the game of baseball. Something that I can do for somebody else. I do a lot of charity work. I work with a lot of kids. I believe in kids. I'm not so sure sometimes when you hear this role modeling and stuff, that you all will know. There was some guys playing in the NBA, had purple hair or yellow hair or all kinds of stuff. I think role modeling starts in the house. To be honest with you, I see a lot of young folks out there today that some of them have probably not too much respect for their elders. And I think a lot of that has to be taken up in the home. I don't think they have to look at some athlete because the way they are today, some of them are pretty good, but I'll guarantee you one thing, some of these young guys, girls too, they gotta look up to some of these people that sold these drugs and all that kind of stuff. That's not a very good image. But I think baseball has changed, the balls and the strikes. Well, you shouldn't say that either, because I saw some of these games, and I don't know where these umpires are coming from, and some of them balls look pretty good to me. Going in there, but, you know, baseball hasn't changed. It's just sometimes the players, everybody talks about the money anymore. I made $7,900 in the first year. And I got a raise to $12,500 in 1969. Coming from Mount Savage, make $12,500 6 months work. That's pretty good money. I mean, I had $1,000 when I got married. But I was so fortunate again, growing up, coming up through the minor leagues with some of the guys. And that's what made our championship team. We come up through with the Hebners and the Dave Cash and Sanguin and stuff like that. And I remember, some of you older folks in here remember, when Bob Prince came on the radio, you knew the Pirates were going to play. And they used to keep score back then because you felt part of that ball club. Now, there's so many guys coming and going that you really can't get that close to them. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. But I do remember back when Bob Prince and Jim Woods, it was like you just become part of that ballpark. And I hope, for Kevin Latch's sake, he's a good guy. He loves the game of baseball. It's just the financial situation that Mr. Steinberger started way back when he had all the money and he had all the shipping that you could possibly get. And he said, boys, he said, I think we ought to have this free agency going here. Guess what happened? Small market teams couldn't keep up with them. Now look what's happened. And I think it's sad. I think ball players should be paid what they do for that particular year. Not because I never had any guaranteed contracts or any kind of stuff. Joe Brown Company, 1 year, $14,000. You know how I used to sign my contract? The guy asked me the other day, he said, do you have an agent? I said, what? Yeah. Went into Joe Brown's office. He sat there, I sat right there. We said our good mornings and all that kind of stuff. He reached for a piece of paper, 2 pieces of paper, as a matter of fact. He wrote on there what he was going to give me. I wrote on there what I was worth. We exchanged papers. He shook his head no, and I shook my head no. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, I'll split the difference with you. I said, all right, that sounds pretty good to me. Because if I didn't sign that contract, I go back to Mount Savage. That's the way it was. See? And I'm not so sure nowadays, some of these bonuses these guys are getting, some of these guys are getting $32 million to sign. That's over above their salary. Times have changed, but you know what? You know who the most important people in baseball is? Fans. Right here. Right here. Because without you, nobody got a uniform. They don't have no bats, they don't have no balls, they ain't got nothing. There's none of this big corporate sponsorship around PNC Park down there where they pay 50 or I don't know how much money they pay for their boxes. It's the people that go to that ballpark. I used to sign autographs before infield. I'll never forget this, and it's happened to me so many times. I used to stop, sign autographs. I always got the kids first. I let the parents back there, and I get the kids first. And invariably, I say, I gotta go. It's time for me to go infield. Now I could sign 20, 25 as fast as I could, but as soon as I left, guess what you hear out of one of these ears? Ah, he's no good, you bum. Some parent, it's got to be a parent. Oh, you bum, you didn't sign my. What am I going to do? You know? But that's okay. Because sometimes fans do they have their rights. Back when I played, I think it was $8 for a box seat. I don't know what it costs now. What's it cost for a box seat at PNC Park? $50? 45? About 45, $50. But I guess y'all want to know, I was talking to Danny out there about Bill Mazeroskis, because I see him during the summer, a good bit in some of these golf outings. And And I hear guys come up to him and all that kind of stuff. That's it, 1960 World Series. Bang, here she goes, 19. And I listen. And they all kind of went away. And I tapped Bazzy on the arm. I said, hey, Bazzy. I said, has anybody ever come up to you and said, boy, you was a real good all-around baseball player. You could do it all. He said, no, not too many of them. I said, well, I just remember the home run in the 1960 World Series. He said, that's about it. Well, I said, you know what? I said, you know what they remember me by? I was supposed to miss bunside. I am up here at this pulpit. I'm going to tell you that right now. And to this day, I still didn't see it. You know what happened? I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to tell you a real story. You figure it out. I think, you know, the luck of the Irish, Danny Murtaugh was Irish, you know. I think Danny had a brain bleep back then because it was the third game of the World Series. We're playing in Three River Stadium. You got Clemente on second, and you got Woolley over here first. So I just walked up there at that old plate. I'll tell you exactly how I did it. And in my mind, in the on-deck circle, everything was on my mind that I was going to hit this ball as hard as I could possibly hit it. Anywhere, I didn't care where it went, I was going to hit it hard someplace. And I was so conscious of that, I walked up there, I kind of looked down there, he was down there doing all this kind of stuff, I didn't know something anyway. I'm going to tell you how dumb Richie Hebden and I are. I'm going to tell you. When we went to first base, right? This is a true story. Don Left was the first baseman, right? So we're on first base, right here, the guys hold me on, right here, and all that kind of stuff. We used to cheat. You always look back like this. Don Leopard used to go like, 1 is the bunt, 2 is the hit and run. We only had 2 of them. Have you ever seen me on television? I'm always, Henry was doing the same thing. So here I go. I'm looking, I don't see nothing. And I get in there, there's old Quayle out there. He likes to throw them little screwballs and stuff. 2 games down in the World Series. Here we go. I'm ready, buddy. Throw it up there. Well, here she comes. Threw that screwball. And I went down like that, and I hit that ball. I don't know if it was another right hander hit it to right center where I hit it underneath that scoreboard. Three Rivers or not. But I hit her. I'm going around the bases. Clemente's at home plate. Willie's at home plate. Get back over on the bench. Murtaugh's over there, got his belly sticking out. He's got his hat down over like this here. And he just laughed. Mazzy tapped me on the leg. He said, Bobby, he said, you know the bunt sign was on. I looked down at Murtaugh. I just looked down at him. I just kind of shook my head. So after the game was all over, there must have been 50 people that asking about the missed bunt sign and all that kind of stuff. And you know my answer was at that time? Because Frank Osiak from Johnstown, London. I didn't want to get out there. I didn't want to bring no troubles to no coaches and all that kind of stuff. They asked me, said, was the bunt sign on it? I said, yes, but I didn't see it. Looked over at Murtaugh, he has the hand up. Here's what happened. Here's the kicker. See? Let me show you something here. Dugout's right here, right? The Irishman, Murtaugh, he's set about right there. Don Arsberg, he's the pitching coach, see? Because back then, well, we really tried to form. Murtaugh, he'd yell up to Osiak, which is standing right here at the end of the dugout, And then he gives a sign down to Ocean, what we're supposed to do each year and stuff like that. I think here's what happened. I don't think Murtaugh knew who was hitting, so when I walked up there, somehow, some way, Osborne gave it to Ocean too late. That's why I think that. Well, that's the story. Well, missing that fun stuff, but I just wonder, I often think, I said, now, what would have happened if maybe I would have seen that? But I ain't never bunted in my entire life. We're on AstroTurf, I'd have had to get Willie from first to second, and Clemente from there to there. And down in spring training, we never practiced too much bunt. A lot of us never bunted. And I just wondered to myself, if I were and popped the ball up, well, what if we won the World Series in '71? Isn't that something? Isn't it incredible how things has to happen? By the way, Earl Weaver, I've seen him in quite a few golf outings. That man, he spoke to me yet. I know he's probably calling me under his breath. But that's the way it goes. Earl, things happen because we weren't supposed to beat them in '71 anyway, because remember they had all those 4 point game winners. Who they had? They had the Dobson, they had the Palmer, the Pryor, and McNally. I got McNally at the Three River Stadium too, left center the very next day. Took his little butt out of the yard too. I said, we're going to get some more of that. But had a lot of good memories. But I see a lot of old timers in here, And I thought about coming in here today and I said, wouldn't it be great if the old timers get our glove together and go out on the ball field, fire it up again, feel that sweat, feel that steak coming out of your body, back then. Wouldn't it be great to do that once again? Give me one more time.
Do it next day.
Then we got Hey and Ralph. Gotta go see him. But I often thought about that, and I get a little bitchy around February. That's still after all these years. I'm out of the game since 1980. I was back with Houston as a coach in the minor league system for 4 years, and I really enjoyed that. I had Gonzalez, I had Jeff Bagwell in spring training. Bob Watson brought him over, and we talked about first base, and I spent the whole spring training with Jeff. And Gonzalez is with Arizona, and Brew. It's A Brew now. When I hang, it was a Brew. Now it's a Brew. I don't know how he changed his name, but that's what it is now. He can get it. But I had all those guys. All the guys that I had with Houston, there was 11 of them hit the big league. And I had them through the minor league system. But me and the farm director, we had our differences. He didn't like ex-Major League ball players because he didn't feel they worked as hard as, say, they got a guy out of college. Obviously, he didn't see me down at the semi down there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when it was 104 throwing batting practice to these young kids. So he come to me one day, and this a Brew kid, A Brew now. He said, how come the Brew ain't out here hitting? I said, he's not in a hitting slump. Oh yeah, he is. He hasn't been hitting lately. I said, have you talked to that young man lately? What's on his mind? He's from out of the country. And he has some family problems. That was his problem. I knew what was going on. I said, Fred, why don't you just go talk to that young man and see what's going on with him? It's not his baseball playing. He's got that home on his mind with his mom and dad. And he did find out. And that upsets me more than you could possibly know, because I've been there. I know what it's like to play in the minor leagues. I know what it's like to be away from home. I know what it's like to be away from girlfriends and all that kind of stuff. I know what that's like. But these coaches nowadays, they want to be rocket scientists. The kid was successful in Little League, Pony League, high school, Legion, college. Now all of a sudden he's a professional baseball player. We're going to change everything. No. it's up to him to make that adjustment. Because the biggest thing is that maybe in college or high school, you might see a good pitcher once a week. In professional baseball, you might see 3 of them a week. And some of the young kids can't make the adjustment. But then these rocket scientists out here, these coaches out there, they want to change everything with the kid. They want to change this stance. They want to change this. You got to work up here. Because when you go between those white lines, that's a different concentration and everything's got to be there. It's time to go play ball. And some of the kids have it, some of them don't. And that's the reason why they fail. Because they can't take that rejection of doing bad. And they can't pull themselves, they just can't pull themselves out of it. So what do? The coaches get them the next day and say, it's got to be his hitting. Let's work on his hitting in another 4 hours. That's not right. You got to sit the kid down and talk here. It's on your mind. What's bothering you? That's the way I used to do it. But I guess Mr. Nelson didn't like that. Because you know the way they want them to hit down? Whatever the major league coach, whoever the major league coach is on that particular team, it trickles down. They want everybody in the minor leagues to do it that way. How can everybody hit the same? Can't do that. How about you old timers? You all had your different style, didn't you? Can you imagine some of you guys coming to the big leagues today or talking to one of these coaches? I can imagine what you tell them. You know? Don't tell them to talk to Ty Cobb once. One of them guys, he tell them. But I'm going to shut up now. But it was very nice being here, nice folks, and I appreciate it being here. I don't get out too much anymore, but I have more to talk about, but enough's enough. But if anybody has any questions, I'll take a few of them.
When you went on the road,
Okay. I'm standing over here.
who was some of the favorite players that you could tell nice stories on?
Well,
I mean,
not very
just fun.
funny things.
Funny.
Funny things. Well, I don't know. A ball club we had was pretty funny.
Doc Ellis?
Oh, you know he's that? Look here. Look there. You know the story got out in 1970 or 71 or whatever, Ellis stabbed him. Took a knife, stabbed him. Tweaked up him pretty good, didn't he? Some reporter looked at that one time and said, boy, that is a true story. I said, that's from a kidney operation. No, Doc Ellis did not stab me. We had, well, if you call this a funny story, you remember the time he used to wear them curls in his hair? Remember the time that's Doc had curls, like women's curls? I'm in the dugout in Chicago, right? First I was chewing, he said, come here. I don't want to tell you what to call him. Come here a minute. I said, yeah, Dad. He said, do you see that? Watch it down there. I said, you mean Alice? You knew who I'm talking about. I said, yeah. He said, I'm going to tell you what I want you to do. I said, what do you want me to do, Dad? He said, you go down there and tell him to take your curls out of his hair. You're talking about the major leagues here, right? We got a guy down in the bullpen with curls in his hair. Oh, man. So here I go. I go down. I said, hey, Doc. Yeah, man, what's going on? I said, well, you see that big work on down there? Yeah. I said, what'd you send you up here for? I said, hey, Doc. He wanted me to tell you to take these curls out of your hair. He said, why? You don't like my curl? I think they look pretty nice. Doc, take the curls out of your hair. Okay. He said, all right, put his arm around me, we'll walk back to Now, you know, he's driving doctors, right? He's got this walk, and I said, well, I'll start doing that too. And we get down there, and he's standing there, and he's going, just like this. Doc looked at him, and he said, Danny, he said, all right. But he said, I'm going to tell you something. If you'd have said anybody else down here besides me, I wouldn't have took them curls out of my hair. Poor Toe goes, oh, man. Turn around and went over and sat down and dug up. And Doc, he said, come on, Robbie, go with me. I said, man, I got to go hit. You're going with me. So here we go. Down through there, we're just up the steps to go. And he was in the bathroom and took his curls out of his hair. To this day, I don't know why Danny worked off 15 to go tell my fellow athlete to take curls out of his hair. But that's, here's one for you. Now this wasn't very nice. I'm going to tell you what happened. Chicago, same thing. These guys, infield practice. Richie Hebner's, you know my roomie Hebner, grade maker. We're in Chicago warming up, and these guys, right back to first base. No shirts on. I think they was a little high on some weed and stuff like that. They was really getting on my room bad. He called me over, he said, hey Rob, he said, the last round here, he said, I'm going to throw one a little wide. kind of go after it, but kind of, make it look good. Last round of infield, right? Here we go. Here comes Hebner. Just a regular routine ball. It just come to him. He picked that thing up. He threw it. These guys were standing. That one guy was standing about right over my shoulder. And I knew this was going to happen. He picked that ball up, and he threw it, and I kind of went, whoops! The only thing I heard was a that guy right here, right there. Turn around like this, there that guy laid out. Then my roomie come in. Oh man, he came into the dugout, he had to look up over top there. Said, friend, all right? Oh no, man, look at him. You see, he turned white. I apologize. He blamed it on me. He said, that's a first baseman that missed that ball. I said, that's what caused it. Shit. Where? Anybody have any other questions?
Who's the toughest pitcher you ever faced?
Bob Gibson. Toughest left-hander in 1972 was Steve Carl. Remember Steve Carl? Yeah, he's tough. Slider down in. So I'd say Bob Gibson. He had to be the toughest. I mean, he'd go right at it. That's why I always told my pitchers on the mound. You know why baseball is so boring? Pitchers out there, they take forever to throw the rhythm ball. Why do they do that? I mean, it's a baseball, there's a catcher, and there's an umpire. Who are you waiting on? How smart you gotta be? One, out. I always told. I told Keeson one time too. But he always got shook up on him. I said, let's go. He said, Bobby, he said, I'm gonna. Well, shut up. Well, you get people sometimes. But he always let me know who he was going to hit. Bruce was kind of skinny, I'm going to tell you the funniest thing I ever seen in my life. Remember DeCalvey? Yeah. You want to see DeCalvey and Keeson in the showers doing their Hulk Hogan impression. That was not a pretty sight. Then we had a guy on that ball club, his name was El Cubo. Enough said on that. He was here last week, or last year. Any other questions?
What was your greatest time with the Murdo Committee and anything?
Well, let's see. I would say probably with Clemente, it was just the fact that, you know, when you had a player that great, and from where I come from, of course, Robbie, when we run out on the field together, we run out together, he went to right field and I stopped at first. You know, that was pretty neat. He was a pretty good ball player. You know, I've seen him make some plays, but you know what made him great? Well, he was a great all-around ball player anyway. But if there was a ball hit him in the outfield, he knew what he was going to do with the ball before he even got there. He knew exactly where to throw the ball. Now, there's been a few times that he kind of, you know, I'm the cutoff man, right here. Bertol yelled at me one day, he said, "Jump!" I said, "Shoot!" There it goes. I threw that guy out. It was at when I first come up, I'll never forget this. It was in the old Cincinnati ball field. What was that place?
Crossing field.
There it is, right down there in that corner. I forget who the runner was. Might have been David Benson. Oh, I know. But I'll tell you how far I go back. I'm 57 years old. But I remember going to spring training in 1965, and guess who my roommate was in 1965 in spring training? Jerry Lynch. Whoa. That's how young I was around Grote, Elroy, Ducky Schofield, Del Crandall. Pretty incredible that I had the opportunity as a young kid coming out of Mount Savage and being able to be in spring training with these guys and be associated with them. That's just like being here with you people. This is great for me. You know, I don't get out as much as I'd like to, but you're nice folks.
Who was the strangest ball player you ever had? Pirates. Who was the strangest?
Well, let's see, it's 25 up to 8. See, you got, I'll tell you one. Here's one. Strange. You want to hear something strange? Remember Vic Davalillo?
Yeah.
Two stories about him. In Chicago one day. Somebody else told me this story. I wasn't there, but I know it's true. Vic's out back in the runway laying down. He got a headache. You know what I mean? Well, remember how Vic used to put 10 more time hair on his head? You know what I mean? Well, he always leaned back when he went to hit. Bertol sent him up. Yeah, I guess I was there. Yeah, I seen this because Bertol had to be there. Bertol sent him up to pinch hit. There he is. First one was all right, then he went back like this, everything was all right. I think Fergie Jacobs was pitching. There comes the other one. And somehow, he threw him a change up or something, and Vic went back like this, and he kept going back. Right there, the whole thing. He get back up there, and the next time, he finally walked. He finally scored. He came in the dugout. He never stopped in the dugout. He run back down there, run the out there, up in the clubhouse. He went. We didn't see him until he got back to the hotel. That was pretty funny, pretty strange. Who was the other one? I was just going to think of one here that's really bad. But it'll come to me. Brain cells. I leaked a lot.
When I was young, I like Willie started.
Willie.
Yeah, you told the story about the old Willie.
Willie was kind of laid back. He was pops. He was a peace holder over the whole thing, over our ball club and stuff like that. You know, really, we didn't need a manager. You know, we had some crazy people in that ball club. Let me tell you that. Only thing we wanted to find out what time was the game and what time was infield. We'd be there. That's the way it was then. I was telling Danny on the way over here, Pilbert, and he spent 3 months with us. Too many rollways. We was pretty free spirited, but we had a tremendous amount of pride in the city of Pittsburgh and ourselves and our uniforms. I think that was the key. Because I think that's what made our ball club great. Because we had guys when that ball club was utility players could have played regular with somebody else. How about me? Never did ask Danny Murtaugh. 1970, I had 28 home runs and drove in 86 or 82 runs, don't even know. And I could hit left-handers. I hit 213 off the left-hander and 317 off the right-hander. But yet I was platoon without Oliver. I was only up to bat 300 some times. I'd like to see if I could have got 500 bats that year, how many home runs I could have hit. Next year was the same way in 71. Same thing. But when the playoffs and the World Series started, I was the one at first base. And you know I never asked Danny Murtaugh why. Because back then I had a lot of if I had something to say now, I'd go into his little room with his little rocking chair with his spittoon and we'd have a little conversation. He had me babysit Sam McDowell one day. He was my roomie. Remember Sam McDowell when he was on that long black train? Yeah, the first night was fine. I'm having some nice tea, but I cried. Next night, I come in, Sam ain't there. Suitcase is, but Sam was nowhere to be found. Next day, he ain't nowhere to be found. We finally go to New York. Day game. Everybody's looking at me and said, "Where's Sam?" I said, "Don't know." I get to the ballpark. Danny Murtaugh calls me into his office. He said, "Bobby," he said, "Where's Sam's down?" I said, "Don't know." "What do you mean you don't know? You were supposed to take care of it." I said, "Danny, he didn't come back to the ballpark that one night. I don't know where's that." "Well, just lay down $250 because that's what I'm going to find you." I said, "You what? $250? Well, anyway, I get back out of the clubhouse. Guess who's there? Sammy showed up. I went over to him. He had looked up and gave me 6'6". And then I said a few words to him. And said, "I don't want that." I said, "I'll take care of it." So he went in and got that straightened out. But that was one of my roommates I was supposed to take care of. I guess I got screwed up. You know what his answer was to Murtaugh when he asked him where he was? He got lost in Canada. Here's one for you. Last one, I'm out of here. Vic Davalillo, Jackie Hernandez. Remember Jackie Hernandez, shortstop? Yeah. That's the story that was told to me. Vic was out one night in New York. I'm walking up and down the streets there, someplace over with these Spanish-speaking guys. And all of a sudden, he gets this, like a parrot. He bought a parrot off this guy. When he's coming back to the hotel, he goes up to Jackie Hernandez's room. Well, Jackie's asleep. Puts a cage over there in the nightstand. Puts a towel over top of it. Well, about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, Jackie hears this. He said he opened his one eye up. Both eyes only looked over there. Here, Vic bought a rooster. Get that thing out of here. About as far as I'm going to go with this stuff. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Congratulations to all your winners, your darts, stuff like that. I don't think the Roto Cup would get a lot. I applaud all the Hall of Famers, and thanks for listening to my stuff. And if I can do anything for you anytime, let me know. Good old Mount Satter's voice says, "God bless you. We'll be seeing you later." Thanks.
Going here. Try to get it underway here. I got 3 sets of tickets to the Saturday, May 29th Pirate game with the Cubs. It is fireworks night. takes them, because if you win another one, you might not want to sit next to them. So, see you again. They're all yet. Got a couple pictures of Steve Blass. Got one of Doug Drabeck, Bob Friend, Dave Justy. One of Bob's favorites there, Jackie Hernandez. Oh, no, Vic Davalito, sorry. I got a Mazeroski, a couple Manny Sanguians, Chuck Tanner, a couple Kent Colbys, a Dave Parker, a few Penguin fans, a Kevin Stevens and a Mike Eastwood. And we have 4 Bob Robertsons who, if you ask them real nice, they'll sign and maybe even say, you know, to Joe or whatever your name is. So, where do you run off? Okay, first number, last 3 numbers. 107. Yeah. 146. Yeah, pick whatever picture you wanted to take our ball game. We're going to the ball game, Jared.
Yeah.
158, 158. One four eight. 148. Back there. Take whatever one you want. Don't remember. Don't go get some ball right there too. You'll be 18 and late. Whatever you want. Okay, pick one. 162. One 150. Make sure you sign that. 150.
Here comes Skull Road.
One.
Gee, they're on this side of the room.
One 59.
What happened to zero? Check him out, guys. Yeah, let's check him out. There's some zeros up there.
119. One 156.
Jeez. Oh.
Check that stuff, Dan. Check that stuff.
We got a printing press over there.
That's 152. 152? Way to go. The 154?
Yeah.
This is different teams here. That's 144.
One per customer.
076. Oh my God. 076.
It's still over there.
All zero out.
They're out of ones.
100. 100. Zero 99.
Zero, 9, 1.
130.
That's it. Mix them up good, Bob.
I'm looking for 9.
That looks for mine in.
145.
No, we are.
145.
Hey, it's red. That's third time it's been out.
If I was rating it, I wouldn't rate it that way.
Yeah.
Send players in the shower. Somebody gets
161.
Gee.
Come on, honey. You're gonna pay for the wall down there in the church.
Thank you for coming. Last 2 years. Paid them and then I just brought them on the CD for anybody who wants to see it. Banquet Speaker, we didn't make it. Right here.
That's very nice of you.
075. 075. Oh, we got one, okay. So we got Jackie Hernandez, Kevin Stevens, and Mike Eastwood.
Jackie Hernandez.
You weren't in the room when he said, how's that man?
Zero 15. Down to the hockey player. 015.
Thank you very much.
That's no problem.
Mike Eastwood goes to 027. 027. Everybody got a picture of Bob. Have him sign it. Well, we also have some postcards that Bob's already signed for you. Anybody that would like a postcard, you remember the night, pick them up on your way out.